Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. Yesterday we talked about the need to be content and some reasons why we should be content, that we shouldn't be chasing after money, that just has all types of dangers connected to it, but that we should just be content with what we have. Well, today in our reading we get to consider what one might do if they find themselves actually rich, not because they're chasing after money or because they're money hungry or anything like that, but maybe just the circumstances of life have been such that they find themselves very wealthy. Maybe they inherited some money from a family, or maybe they just happen to choose a career path that pays very well, or it could be a lot of other things. Maybe they just live in a wealthy society and wealth becomes very easy to accumulate. Whatever the case may be, it's not that they are living for money or worshiping money. It just so happens to be that they have money. And having money in and of itself is not a bad thing. However, there are some instructions that go along with having a lot of money, and we read about those today in 1 Timothy chapter 6. Starting in verse 17, the Apostle Paul says, "Command those who are rich in this present age not to be haughty." And that's the first thing that he teaches. Don't be prideful. Having a lot of money really can puff a person up, to make them think that they're better than other people because of perhaps the society they run with, or because of the amount of possessions that they have. They might look down their noses at other people who don't have as much as they do. And we all know that, the Lord, one of the main things that the Lord hates is that of a prideful heart, haughty eyes, and a heart that boasts. We need to maintain humility, even though we might be wealthy, and to realize that we're only wealthy because the Lord allows us to be, and not because of anything that we could be proud of in and of ourselves. But then the next thing he says, or to set their hope on the uncertainty of riches, but on God, who richly supplies us with all things to enjoy. And not to set your hope on the uncertainty of riches. In other words, don't think that all your hope lies in being wealthy. Now, somehow being wealthy is going to solve all your problems. It's going to give you a guarantee of a wonderful future, and you're going to be set for life. We have to realize that riches are very uncertain. We read in history time and time again of people who are very wealthy, and then something happens, and the next thing you know, they're dirt poor. And we could think about when the stock market crashed. We could think about the Depression here in the United States. People who are very wealthy in a day, all of a sudden found themselves in poverty. And that can very well happen. So we shouldn't place our hope on riches because they're uncertain. What we should do is place our hope on God, who is the supplier of all good things. And then thirdly, we should be generous with what we have. It says there in verse 18, "Command them to do good, to be rich in good works, to be generous and ready to share, storing up for themselves the treasure of a good foundation for the future, so that they may take hold of that which is life indeed." To be generous. If you find yourself in a situation where you do have extra money, you do have extra cash and extra things, use that as an opportunity to bless others. Take the blessing that God has given you to then go out and bless others, the Apostle Paul would say. And certainly that should be the case, that any blessing that the Lord gives us, we should want to turn that into a blessing for others, but especially with money, because money can feed the poor. Money can help those who are disadvantaged and are down on their luck, and can really prop people up and provide their physical needs. And we should utilize it for that purpose, to be generous with what we have, which is a lot easier if we're not placing our hope on our money, which is a lot easier if we're not prideful about our money. All these things kind of work together. And so if we find ourselves in a situation where we're pretty well off, we should consider these instructions by the Apostle Paul. We should not be prideful. We shouldn't trust in our riches, and we should be very generous. And if we can do that, we can actually use our riches to glorify God and to further his kingdom by dispensing the blessings that God gives to other people, and use that as a means by which to draw people to him. So here's some things we can reflect on and think about as we do a reading today. With that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.